All right. This lighting is absolutely horrible, but thanks to my family not shutting the hell up, I have to film in the garage now. Isn't that great? Well, let's talk about this book. One of the most underrated Star Wars books of the new canon, that is Star Wars Battlefront Twilight Company by Alexander Freed. This book's about Twilight Company, a charter of the rebels, I guess, that are just hitting the Empire where it hurts. We focus on our main character, Namir. He's fought for a lot of rebel causes, different like cults and stuff, just weird groups. And he just wants to fight the Empire because that's all he knows how to do. He doesn't believe in the Rebel Alliance and just wants to fight. And there's a lot of other characters in this. Overall, this story is pretty good. It's almost great. And I say this because it gets the tone down correctly. And that is, war is shit. It really is. Pardon my foul language, but it is. And this book doesn't glorify war like a lot of Star Wars books seem to do. Because it's called Star Wars. It's a space fantasy. This isn't a fantasy. I mean, it does. It has aliens in it and shit. But it's rough. People die. A lot. And it goes from after the Rebel Alliance does this big push after they blow up the first Death Star, and it's them pulling back out of the mid-world into the Outer Rim again and going into hiding. And then it goes to the Battle of Hoth, and then to Twilight's campaign of Sallust, which I'm pretty sure is what's referenced in Return of the Jedi, with the rebels massing at Sallust. Of course, there's other stuff for the EU. But for the new canon, I do believe that's what they're talking about. But it's very interesting. I really enjoyed this book because it's one of the better Star Wars video game novels. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like a lot of the Star Wars video game novels. Or comics, for that matter. Dark Forces is okay, but feels like a video game. Same with the Force Unleashed books. They're based on a video game. The Republic Commando series I hold in higher regard because it does its own thing and it doesn't feel like a video game. It actually has character development, and this does too. But part of the problem with this book is that the DICE Battlefront game just pretty much sucks. I mean, they've done a lot to try to make it better, and it is better than the way it was on launch. Because let's be honest, there's no campaign, which is something a Star Wars Battlefront game needs, is a campaign. That's what everyone remembers from Star Wars Battlefront. But no, we're just going to make an online Star Wars military simulator that pales in comparison to its predecessors. It's embarrassing. But this should have been the campaign for this. It really should have. But instead, they didn't put a campaign in. Instead, they made you pay something like $100-something for what they considered a complete game. And that's counting Season Pass and the Deluxe Edition and all that crap. But this isn't a rant about DICE's Battlefront, which I actually still play. Not gonna lie, I played a little bit today to get in the mood for this. This is about a very underrated book, and I think it has to do with it being called Star Wars Battlefront. Because it's just a real shame. The potential that this book could have had with the DICE's video game. I hope that Battlefront 2 Inferno Squadron by Christy Golden gets the praise it deserves if it admittedly is as good as this. Because this is really good. In fact, I would rank this number 2. Thrawn by Timothy Zahn beats it out by just a little, but they're two different books. And it's better than Rebel Rising, which is a solid young adult novel. If you haven't read that, I recommend reading that. It's quite good. Better than it should be. And that's the same thing with this. It's better than it should be. Because let's be honest, it's based on a video game that didn't have a campaign. It could have been Chuck Wendig's Aftermath, for all we knew. And that's probably another problem with this, is it came out right after Aftermath, which everyone hates. Unless you're like some of those podcasts that Disney paid off to say it was a good book. I don't know how you could honestly say that Aftermath, in fact, any of that trilogy is considered good literature, or good reading for that matter, because it's terrible. But this is good. That's the worst part about this. After all the Aftermath books get all this hype, well, except for Empire's End, that kind of got thrown under the rug in favor of Thrawn, which was rightfully so. But Aftermath got favored over Twilight Company, and that's a real shame. So overall, I give this 4 out of 5 stars. Go check it out. It's well worth your time and pretty easy to find. Like with a lot of these new canon books, you can pick up the paperback for like $8 new. So, yeah, check it out. Alexander Freed's putting out some great content for Star Wars fans. Anyway, have a nice day.